Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Nathan Guerra here at Zwift Community Live Studios, and I got next to me Dave Toll coming out of Colorado, hammering out here in the world of London for the commentary on your 3R presented by Vitus Pro Cycling finale. Round number 6, triple loops out here today, Dave. It looks to be absolute race of attrition. Going to be a very difficult race today.
Yes, super challenging course. We are locked and spring-loaded. I am stoked, Nathan, getting this week going. It's going to be awesome. Want to thank our friends at the 3R and Vitus. I mean, all the big teams are bringing their heavy hitters. We got 3R. Vitus is obviously with us. The Dropouts, the Army team, that's James Bevan. He's sitting, the Army UK, I should say. That's the third ranked rider Lima Viasen is here, the Canyon rider, and of course the Canadian Brett Boniface in the mix. Nathan, it's going to be a Donnybrook, as I like to say, perfectly fitting for London, and you know this course well. Very, very challenging. The sting is in the tail, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Up front here, let's take a quick little look at the verified Zwift Insider Verify. If you didn't know, you can head on over to Zwift Insider. You can check out at any time that you want to all of the course details for all courses out there. London Triple Loops route is a large loop containing 3 more loops. First, you hit Greater London Loop, then it's going to be the Classic. So it's up front. You do hit Greater London Loop. You do have a little bit of climbing there. Then back over to Classic for flats. Then you head on over Leith Hill, and then Box, which includes Box Hill. So there's a loop with Leith Hill and Box Hill. Descend Fox to the underground, a drag race to the finish line. That's the situation out here today. It's going to be very, very difficult race out here today. Riders have jumped out on course already, so let's just jump right on into the action. Now, if you do want to interact with the broadcast at all, you can do so simply by interacting with us over on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Twitch and YouTube. We will be watching comments as they come in on any of those platforms. So make sure to jump into the broadcast. We'll be listening in on those comments, and we'll be answering any of your questions. We've got 80th place currently. We're G. Mills Keeling from Rebel Cycling. He was chatting away with me a little bit before the last couple of days, and Keeling, definitely a rider, I believe, who is gaining an experience with the Zwift racing with that verified check mark. He is a Conti Pro. Be watching out for him on the climbs, because today I think is going to suit in real life pros a little bit more than it usually has because of how incredibly difficult the course is out here today.
Yeah, they've been coming out of the woodwork, Nathan, talking about those IRL pros, that's for sure. One of them that's been racing with us quite frequently, he's been doing this race, as a matter of fact, Freddie Ovitt out of Australia with this stunning victory in the race for all that's been going on. Highly recommend you watch that racing as well out here on this awesome Zwift platform. Nathan, we also got to remember that Christopher McGlinchey, the Irish rider, he's a Northern Irishman. He had a big classics win a little over a week ago. He's in Fuego out here as well. I see Dan Fleeman. That's a name to watch always as we start highlighting, again, recognizable names, Nathan, some of them coming from a background of tremendous esports victories, some of them really starting to make their mark in real life riders here on this Zwift platform. Esports are just on fire right now. 41K today, folks. So it's actually, I think they mark it out as a little under 41. If you want to be exact, 40.7. Finish comes up on you quickly. Nathan, the damage that they do the first time over Leith Hill will only be compounded as they go over Box Hill. That was the feature, absolutely the highlight feature of that 2012 London Olympiad.
Yeah, we are definitely going to be taking on some of the hardest climbs in the world of Zwift. Obviously, minus, I would think, the Epic KOM as well as the Alp de Zwift. But that's a different kind of athlete, really, when it comes down to it. The kind of climbs that we have out here today, we're not going into those pure threshold. It's the punchier climbers that are going to excel out here today. Climbers that can do something between that 3 up until the 7 or 8 minute mark. Those marks are really, there's different physiology in the body for each of those types of climbers. And a rider that is a little bit heavier but just has a higher power threshold will be able to excel on a course like this versus somebody who's more of a pure climber. They may not excel quite as much. They will go over the top of them, but there's definitely the reality of just pure power will benefit of high VO2 max. Under 10-minute climbs, definitely going to have a lot of suffering out here today. That's very quick, though.
Are you talking about Cormac McGeough?
Cormac
Sounds
McGill is
like
going to
it,
be a
because
great.
this could be
Here he
good
is
call
actually
today.
too, out
Yep.
on course here, coming out of Ireland. Watch out for McGill for sure.
Yeah, we talk about him a lot. He's another guy, rides on the Wildlife Generation team, also the Bad News Bears, that is very, very active in these races. If you want to pick a favorite, I highly recommend. I was talking with some friends yesterday saying he's a great guy to watch out here because he's always up in the mix. But Nathan, in no way would I say that he would be following the description. If you were doing a police lineup and I was listening to try to find the guy you described, that's not Lionel Viassen, the Belgian. But man, I would expect him to be up there today. I mean, how many times have you watched him over the last couple of years have success high-level fields, in high-level fields on these tougher courses? And there's the Belgian rider sitting right around top 15. I'd call that the sweet spot in the group right now. Drafting, it is huge in the world of Zwift. There's no question. I mean, I use in real life 30%. I think it's even maybe a little bit more at times when you look at this group rolling along. Nathan, again, 41K today, 2 significant climbs coming up in the last third of this race. So we'll see who wants to keep their powder dry and who's going to want to attack and try to get to the bottom of Leith Hill. Again, feature 1 of 2. They go up Leith, they go up Fox Hill, and then down Fox Hill before they make their way to the finish today.
Yeah, going to be a lot of climbing out here today. Mocher making his way to the front, as you can see here, coming from that Vitus Pro Cycling. We're still on board here with Cormac McGill. If you're unfamiliar with Zwift, let's just do a quick little tally of what you are looking at on the screen right now. At the top of the screen, you can see the speed they're currently going at, 57 kilometers per hour, 5.6 km into the race. They've done a total of 40 meters of climbing. They're 6:52 into the race as far as time goes at that moment, just a few moments ago. Going over that 7-minute mark now at the top right side of that little bar at the top. On the left-hand side, the wattage you are watching is actually the rider we have selected, Cormac McGill, currently from Wildlife Generation. That's 247, 254 as it changes in real time for what he's producing to produce the speeds his avatar is doing out on course. He is obviously sitting in the draft right now, though, gaining some of that speed from being pulled along by those who are doing the work toward the front. 93 RPMs on his current cadence, 152 beats per minute. Pretty chill for him right now. Right around an endurance effort, I would assume, being an elite athlete. On the right-hand side, you can see all the riders nearby, as well as who we selected, highlighted in blue, and as well as the current position of the rider that we have selected, always changing if you are in a group, obviously. And then in the upper right, there's the mini map. You can see current gradient they're experiencing with their smart trainers. If they do have a smart trainer, they will be experiencing the pushback from the in-game environment. You are actually feeling the climbs or the descents or the flats, and then you can also see obviously where they're heading on the mini map. That's the setup you can see with the UI in Zwift for our broadcast.
Yeah, Nathan, I tell you, your first time ever on Zwift, when you hit a really steep incline, you feel like your trainer has seized up, right? It's that much resistance, just like in real life. I just saw Ed Laverick there. He's a rider to watch. He was super active in our USA cycling race that we've been doing on Wednesdays. I'd look forward to seeing some of these guys out there tomorrow as well. So always watch out for Laverick. Nathan, I did want to note, as I've kind of over the last couple of months appreciated just what you did there, these tutorials for everybody, walking them through the screen. That's really helpful. Thanks for doing that. It's amazing how much there is to learn. Talk about a steep learning curve here. It doesn't seem to end, and it's so much fun. The more you know, the more you want to know. But the teams to watch out here, I would say the bigger teams in esports, Race 3R, Vitus, Dropouts, the Army team out of the United Kingdom, Evoke, that's the EVOQ team, Innovation, Cryogen, the Z Sun R team, that's a super international squad, Team Type 1, and they've got, I love this guy, Doug Soul Train Cornelius. Always a rider to watch out for on that Team Type 1 team. And of course, Dig Deep Coaching as well. Cannot forget them. They always have an impact, don't they, Nathan?
DDC, huge. One, though, that we definitely want to mention as well is the newly sponsored Saris, the Pros Closet team. And they actually just picked up. What's so cool about how this community of teams is developing is there's drafts going on. There's like trading happening between these teams. And we saw Dempster go from team draft this past week. There was an announcement yesterday. I saw it on Instagram. Picked up by Saris TPC. Dempster, watch out for him.
Yeah, riders are getting traded for Saris trainers and Wahoo it's amazing. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, they're having a lot of, hey, what did it take to get toll on the team? It's like 2 used Wahoos. Yeah. So, but anyways, there is this really cool community. When Zwift was founded, we talked about that a couple nights ago. When Zwift was founded, there was no question that community was going to be a big part of how this platform would be successful. And the racing community, Nathan, was something that you were spearheading organically. It just happened. I mean, you started showing up at the side of the road, waiting for other friends to join you and go out and race. It was really that much more complicated, was it?
Yeah, pretty much. It is exactly how it started out. Is that early on there was no event mode, so it was just riders nearby. On the right hand side, you see all the riders nearby. That is essentially a modified riders nearby list that calls for everybody that is in the event. So essentially, just removes everybody else that's out in the world of London right now, and only shows you those who are in the event, and then gives you a position for those in the event. But up front, there was no event mode. We'd show up at the lap banner out on Watopia and say go with a world clock that we had all agreed on that we'd be following. And then we'd load it to Strava and see who won. That's essentially how it worked out. And we started broadcasting them. And that was about going on almost 5 years ago, actually. It would be the summer of 2015, summer of 2015. First one and the reason why, just so everybody out there that's kind of nerdy on the whole gaming side of things, I was watching the Dota International, largest esports event of the year, every year, $20 million prize pool that year, I believe it was. I think it's gone up to 32 million in years subsequently. But the reality is that I watched the International and was like, I can commentate about cycling like this, and we have this MMO. Let's go! And I started broadcasting on my personal channel on Twitch, actually, and then we launched ZCL about a year and a half later. So pretty cool how it all was developed. And what's funny is this morning we had a boost mode, and I see some of the comments about how boost mode just got launched. It's a beta feature. A lot of the beta testers are using it and checking it out. And the pens this morning were pretty much stacked with everybody who would show up to those races because they were all in the beta when we started broadcasting this stuff. It was so cool to see that this morning, using that new beta feature. So, next steps, it looks like always taking on new levels, and as the platform grows, and event mode come, and now we got years later boost mode coming on. It's pretty cool how it always develops out of the community.
Yeah, they're talking about community and gaming. That's for sure in this element. Sorry about that. So as we, Nathan, now watch the group here, these guys know that there's so much work to be done. The heavy lifting happens in the second half of this race. I think a lot of these guys are, pretty willing to just roll along here. These are not exceptional numbers that they're putting up. It's exactly where you'd expect it to be, actually, as we watch them hit the almost 11K in 40 and some change. Let's just use 41K total distance. Again, so much is going to happen on the climb. Nice to see Patrick Brady of the Evoke team having a strong ride today. Eder Frier is who I was just looking at a moment ago. He a big part of that Legion team that's been fighting. They got 2 podiums out there in the Redlands Classic over the last Friday and Sunday. That was a lot of fun doing those 2 races. Nathan, really commend the community, everybody who came together to race. Spencer Downing there, virtually rolling along tucked into this group. Everybody looking just fine right now. These are, the level that we're looking at here, Nathan, with these pros is very high. These guys really don't get dropped until the terrain gives the guys who really want to hit hard something to work with. Right now, they can all stay in this group. Brett Boniface right there. Certainly a man to watch today. Time to Canuck up, as he's got a strong field to race against. I see the Irish flag of McGlinchey. Definitely one of the big danger men out here, Nathan. McGlinchey.
Yeah,
I
think
Irish
McGlinchey, with all the climbing out here today, he did show himself in the Zwift Classics to be a very strong climber, especially on punchier courses. So I'd definitely be watching out for McGlinchey. We're going to keep on the flats here for a little while, but this when you talk about the level that is showing up out here today, and I think we do have a little bit of a push off the front, maybe somebody getting a little bit antsy, but we got Ed Laverick. Right, UK, I believe he's the hill climb champion of the UK. We've got McGlinchey, as you were saying. We've got Evoke in here. We've got Saris Pros Classic. I mean, this essentially is the who's who of Zwift esports racing. Being in a situation where it is mainly a race that's come out of the community. A lot of times when you have the invite private events, a lot of times you get a lot of more mixture of in real life racing. But essentially what you're looking at here is the who's who. The only thing I would say is missing is going to be, and I think we do have an attack actually from Vitus off the front here. We'll see if we can get with that attack here in just a second. That may be McGlinchey or one of his teammates. But the only teams that I would say that we have missing here at this point would be the Callus team or any of those teams that are participating in the there's a few of these Scandinavian countries have their own series going on right now that are very national, and so those are the only teams that I would say that are going to be missing from here. I don't think we're going to see SCR, Callus, or a few of those others that are participating in something that's a little bit more to do with qualifying for a live final in their localities, which is kind of cool actually to see the regional racing starting to kind of build up. And though they do their regional stuff and then they all meet up at more of a World Cup or World Championship or international type race. So we definitely have international racing here. Not saying that that's happening here, but there's a reality that we're starting to see some cool series get a high level all around.
Well, without any doubt, Nathan, I just saw the name Kiesnowski roll through. Right now, so that is Ryan Kiesnowski. His sister Jo was a multi-time New Zealand Olympian. He is a salt of the earth guy. I mean, New Zealand right now, didn't they? I believe they just reported they were down to 0 cases of COVID there. They have done such a tremendous job. I've always thought New Zealand was just a world leader and one of the classiest countries in the world. He's a farmer. Listen to this, Nathan. When he's not out on Zwift, his farm, they're growing pumpkins, cauliflower, cabbage, lettuce, radish, all of the big crops that supply tens of thousands of New Zealanders in the part of they live in the North Island, not the South Island, like some of our other friends that we've been racing with, the Tibco girls, right, who are leading in the Tour of All right now, Tour for All right now. So just a shout out to Ryan and good job down there in New Zealand representing really well for the Silver Ferns.
Mottram now off the front here. That's who it was from Vitus Pro Cycling. Giving a little push here on the flatter sections. Wasn't positive it was going to go much of anywhere. Perhaps looking to support the rest of his team by loosening up the legs. Usually it's give it a little bit of a risk. See if you can get away if nobody chases things down. And then if it does get chased down, it just puts a little bit of sting into the legs of the riders that perhaps you're looking to hurt early on and support then your main climbers. And I think that's what's going on. Mainly working for McGlinchey, I would think, there with Mottram off the front.
I'd agree, keeping the tempo high because Nathan, these guys are so savvy. They're going to they have enough experience that they know attacking right now is a fool's errand. That's for sure. I mean, I see Adam Zimmerman here, one of the original American champions on the Evoque team. There's Zimmerman right now, just hanging in the back of this group. He knows that there's really no reason to burn any matches because what you're going to want to do is turn into a wattage blowtorch at the bottom of Leith Hill. I mean, Nathan, talk about how steep these climbs are. I mean, they will. This group, what are we looking at here now? 76 guys out of the 110 that started. When they hit the crest of Leith Hill, and they'll still have Box Hill before they hightail their way down to the finish line comes up at just before 41K. Nathan, this group won't be 25. It won't even be 20 is my estimation as they go over that first blip there, the steepest part of the.
Look at how incredibly steep it is, and it is going to be a very difficult day, I think, on that climb here, and that's what we're waiting for. Going to be at about the little under 20K mark, I think it is, that they're going to be running into that, so we still got about 5K to run into that, so that is the course profile for the climbs out here today on Triple Loops. So tough climbs on the day. And speaking of the climbs, I think this first one's the one that's going to hurt the most as far as effort that has to go out. The second one is essentially going to be Box Hill. That's going to be a selector, maybe if anybody's really in a world of hurt at that point. But I think anybody who makes it over the top of Keith Hill is going to be having a hard time. Is going to be the main selection is what I'm trying to say. That's going to be the main place because that bump that you saw in that red up into that almost 15% gradient at the end, that's such a difficult section of course and really, really hard to stay with a group that's motivated.
Yeah, it's kind of look at it this way. You're going to need the nail gun when you're going up Leith Hill, and then the finishing nails, the fine tacks is going to be the work that you're doing as you separate yourself from the men who remain after. I mean, who can survive over Leith Hill? It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, these races are always fun to watch, but I think this course in particular is going to serve up quite an event today. So Christopher McGlinchey, always going to be a rider to watch. Brett Boniface, Nathan, this is his standard operating procedure, isn't it? Not surprised if someone told me that a rider had a 5-second, 6-second gap on the field about a third of the way into the race. Brett Boniface might be your man. He can do this over and over. It's just body blow after body blow being thrown by Boniface.
Yeah, Boniface always want to watch out for the early attacks, and he gets 7 seconds over the rest of the groups for that dropouts team. So solid kick here from the Canadian rider right now. Looks like the pack is pretty satisfied just to let him go, and I'm not surprised by that with the kind of talent that we do have in the group out here today. I think they're just trusting that if any of the teams want to bring this back, they will be able to do so. My question out here today, the rider that you did mention was James Bevan. He was able to win in the sprints a lot recently, but I believe this course out here today is not going to suit a pure sprinter quite as much. And I have a feeling that one of the motivations for some of the teams, like the dropouts, is going to be able to put as much hurt on a rider like Bevan as they possibly can, to completely smash any pure sprinters on Keith Hill as well as Box Hill with everything but they're going to have to full on risk it. They cannot hold back. It's got to be a full on risk. It's got to really, there's a kind of hurt you have to go into internally in your own mind to say, I am totally committed. I don't care who's around me. I don't care who's using my draft. I don't care who's on my wheel. Just full on, what is my best effort? And I think that's what they have to do to get rid of any of these pure sprint, or not even pure sprinters. Bevan's not a pure sprinter, but he's got such a kick that you got to get rid of a rider like that.
Yeah, I mean, you just described bike racing 101, didn't you? I mean, absolutely, Nathan. Everything that would apply in a real world race applies out here. And yes. And yes, so we're going to see if they're going to be able to pull that off, because every now and then these guys surprise us as well. Talking about Bevan there, maybe James is able to hang in this group. And then all of a sudden, like we saw with Corey Williams over the last few days, the name of the game in a lot of cases, and there's even another wrinkle to this, but is being the best sprinter left in the group that goes to the line, right? And if you can use your teammates to help you create that scenario, that's the name of the game. Part of what they did really well, the Legion team racing on Sunday, was they kept the pace incredibly high, but not so high that they dropped Corey. And they, checking that box is hard to do. That was some very next level racing from Legion of LA. They do have a rider out here, Eder Frier. We'll see Eder. Yep, there he was right there. As a matter of fact, right in the middle of the group, you'll see the Mexican flag next to his name. But this team in green, that's the team of Brett Boniface here. They are a very, very active squad, no doubt. You start to recognize how the teams race stylistically, Nathan. And one of the things, and I would say the same thing for the Evoke team and Brian Hodges and Adam Zimmerman and company. They race aggressively.
Now, look at the situation here at the back of the race, and then lead group, or the rider off the front here, which is Boniface trying to make a break here. Interesting to see. Dropouts had all 5 of their other teammates at the back of the group, just sitting in. They got as much draft as they possibly could, and they throw Boniface off the front here to loosen up the legs and allow the rest of their team to just sit in and wait for any other kind of attacks, allow the rest of the group to pull things back in. That's tactical racing for sure. They're
Clearly they know what they're doing. Yeah,
they're in a Discord. I know they are. They have a dropouts Discord. They're communicating right now, and they're saying, here's what we need to do. Send Boniface out the front. He wants to go. He's getting antsy. They sit at the back. They reserve as much energy. Now I would expect full on, at least some sort of maybe attack, or at least them being able to be involved up until the top of Keith Hill in just a moment here.
It's funny. It's kind of like commentating or complimenting the Swiss Guard in the Vatican City, right? And saying, boy, those guys are really clean cut and precise and good at what they do. It's like, well, yeah, that's what they do. And same thing with these guys. They're high-level operators, and they understand exactly the benefit of having a rider going off the front. And what they can do is, hopefully just sit in. They don't have to chase that back, burn any extra watts, because by the time you hit Leith Hill, it's going to be fun. You want to, and Nathan, you called it the boost mode that you guys were experimenting with out there. Some of you and your buddies on the original OGs, Club Jarvis, and that's sort of what they're trying to do here, is build up a boost mode, right? Charge their battery as much as they can. Don't burn any watts that you don't have to, so you've got as much available when you hit these climbs, because that's where it's all gonna go down. I mean, you don't need to be a bicycle scientist to figure that out.
Yeah, and I do see a lot of comments coming in through here. Watch out for Laverick. Laverick's going to smash the climbs, and I think they're right about this. Laverick is definitely the one to watch out for out here today. Let's go ahead and jump in with him on board as we start the first climb of the day here, and it looks like 22nd place currently, making sure he's in the right position. But on the front, it's going to be Mottram, I think, here from Vitus Pro Cycling that's starting to really start turning the screws just a little bit. Yeah, it is going to be Mottram, and that Mikey Mottram, he has been the workhorse for Vitus Pro Cycling, and now to the front it looks like D Hart and then Brad Cavaris now for Team Turbo. Freyer now, Legion taking over at the front, so watch out for Legion to maybe be a little bit of a dark horse, at least amongst the esports teams, as to whether or not he can hang or at least put down the kind of power that's needed. Miglinski now 8 watts per kilogram. This is the selection point, as we were saying. First time up to the top here is where we need to watch out for who's going to make this race happen.
Yeah, and watch how many riders get their tickets punched here. It's going to be dramatic. There is nowhere to hide. It is on now, Nathan. So, okay, we're going to be picking up the front of the group. It looks like it's going to be McGlinchey up there. No doubt one of the Vitus riders, more than one of the Vitus riders, and they've got that red jersey there, Lionel Viasen of the Canyon team. Super strong rider, perennial contender. There's no doubt that monster is going to be a part of this conversation as we get a little bit deeper into the race. Sheehan is sitting right up there. So now it starts to string out. You can feel they're trying to put their foot on the throat of this bike race right now, Nathan. This is the moment right here, right now.
Yeah, we do see as they kick up a little bit here. Back of the race now looks like, those are the incorrect here, but the front of the race now, Freyer now is the one that's making the move. It looks like Kirchmer hanging on there as well. Conte, Fleeman, Saris Pro's Closet, then it's going to be Bruin there. Miglinski now 1 second back, so a little bit of splits happening. Definitely putting the nose in the wind here. It's going to be Freyer, though, who is taking the brunt of this. Kirchmer hanging right onto the wheel. So it looks like Freyer very motivated to try and separate things out early on this climb.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the kind of terrain that you just love when you have the ability. This is really where it comes down to those pure watts per kilo. Drafting still does matter, but it's not going to become as much of a factor as just the pure effort that you're making out of the air. Then Conti, Hart up there. It looks like, Nathan, they're actually maybe backing off. Well, 7.2 watts per kilo is not backing off, is it? As you look at Eder continuing to make these big numbers. Some of the other guys, though, able to chill out just a little bit. Well, I wouldn't call it chilling out when you're sitting at 6 watts per kilo, but this isn't completely ridiculous right now. Some of the guys might be chuckling to themselves as they hear that, was they're completely at their limit. I can only imagine what it's like trying to hold on to the front of the group. And you can see now, again, the little bit of a split opening up in the middle of this field. Nathan, they're pouring more coal on the fire here.
Yeah, and it looks like D Hart now taking over at the front there, coming out of the UK. We're still on board with Freyer here. It looks like Mottram there, 167 beats per minute currently. Now Jenkins from RTRT, 167 here still coming from Mottram, though. Bruin here from Cybercoach, 185 beats per minute. We do have some of these riders here falling off the back now, and we can start to see this pack decimate at the back here. Spencer Downing just hanging on, it looks like. Kiswowski is there as well. Fleeman is hanging in. McKee, as you can see. Saris, where Pro's Closet still with about 4 riders, I believe, in McLuhan here. Bad News Bears now to the front in about 3rd position. We're going to start seeing who's been playing it smart, though, as well. The Italian rider now, Santa Lanes, now making his way to the front. Freyer just nonstop continues to say, no, I'm going to go back into the back of this pack, and then I'm going to kick again. It looks like he does not want to wait up for anybody. Yeah. Come with me if you can. 6.7 watts per kilogram. Haney there now. Looks like the Isle of Man, 175. Now coming from Mottram, grabs onto the wheel. Hughes there, WTR. Watch out for Gavin, who is always a very strong rider. Rider that we haven't talked about a whole lot here, but Gavin Hughes, definitely one who's going to make this lead group, I would say, as he makes his way onto the front wheels. Conti, ZF, Laverick there. I think Laverick's just sitting in, waiting though, for the moment to pounce.
Good call, Nathan. I would agree. He's saving up something here. There's going to be a wicked turn coming from Ed Laverick. Again, he's the Welsh rider sitting in the top 10 right now. It is unraveling up at the front, though. These guys have got the throttle not quite all the way open. Really key to watch up in the top right-hand corner, that percentage of grade. It's 3 down to 2. So really not much more than a false flat, or even flat right now, Nathan, as these guys know that the steepest part of the climb, the steepest part of the race is going to be coming up. That, again, we're looking from the viewpoint of Spencer Downing. He's here in Fort Collins, where I am right now. He's probably on his trainer within a couple miles in real life of me. So keep it going, Spencer. Hang on. Great young man. Always been
3
fun to watch him
seconds
race.
for Spencer. 3 seconds
Yeah, the
here.
problem is, Yeah. So up at the front of the bike race is really where it's all happening right now, Nathan. Unfortunately, you see riders coming out of the group, and this is a reality of how hard it is to rejoin because they just never back off. There's no quarter asked for, and there's no quarter given, especially when this is going to be Classics winner McGlinchey, Christopher McGlinchey in the red jersey. He's riding off of your screen right now. Look at this. McGlinchey going nuclear right now.
Mottram, his teammate here. McGlinchey's sitting in. He's about 1 second back here. So now Laverick now kicking. So this is where it starts now. Up into that 4% gradient. Now you can see the riders are starting to get excited. Look at the upper right-hand corner. If you look at the current gradient right now, it's only 3 or 4%. But what they're anticipating here, look at that sharp kick when it goes into 8 to 10 all the way to the top. And this is the official KOM start. We've been climbing, actually, I think, for about 3 or 4 minutes. But now is where the official KOM starts for Leith Hill. This is going to be all out to the top from here on out. I believe the initial selections were made, but this is when it really starts to ramp up, and they're going to start that nitrous oxide. They really go into the efforts now.
Well, a big thank you to 3R, Ride, Race, and Raise, as they raise a lot of funds for World Bicycle Relief, among other groups, as well as Vitus. But I don't know if Vitus is in game. I don't think they are yet, but those are beautiful bicycles. And right now, these guys are making the race, no question. This Pro Conti team out of the United Kingdom. Mottram was the rider. You are correct, Nathan, that went up and over the top. He started this. He lit the fuse. Now, Lionel Viasen, he wants to go with anything that goes clear here, but it's going to be, that green jersey, is it going to be
Turner?
It's Turner. I apologize.
Yep, so Turner here for the dropouts. Freyr now going over the top again. Kirchmer, Brady, McGlinchey, Laverick now all sitting in. You can see how we've got these little punches off the front here. It's kind of like when you see in a climbing stage, somebody will give a little go, see if somebody comes with, who can we break off, and then it goes back to the status quo of what's our threshold
9%.
effort. So now into that 8%, as you can see, 174 being sprinted here from Turner. Lionel Viasen, always third or fourth wheel, making sure nobody's able to get away. We saw him win on this climb, actually, in the Yana race on Saturday. But we do not have a KOM finish here, but this is still going to be a selection and will be a part of the winning moves in order to be involved in this race at the finish line. Now we get into those red numbers, 10% gradient. When we go through these little, this little town, this little section through here with these little residential area, this is the most difficult part of the climb by far. And now we are going to start seeing who has able to hang on when we get into the pure puncher sections.
That spot where McGlinchey is sitting as we do roll through this beautiful little village here is where the lion sits. And I tell you one thing, the lion does not care what the sheep think. He's going to race his own race here, and he's doing a tremendous job here. His Vitus teammates kept the pace high. He's been staying in the wheels. So obviously McGlinchey is going to be really tough to beat today. We've got a stacked field, Nathan, as we take a look at Eder Frier, I believe is the rider in the yellow and black jersey here on the front with Ed Laverick there, the Welsh rider, Boniface, the Canadian there, Viasen from Belgium, Kierkmaier, the Austrian rider, McGlinchey from Ireland, Scottish rider, Dempster, and then that's going to be the Argentinian. We haven't even mentioned Messineo yet, and he's one of the biggest danger men that we've got in our field, Nathan, and he is not only hanging in there, he's keeping his head above water, he's starting to throw some body blows as well, as it looks like we're going to weld this one back together. So Laverick now taking over the front. Well, Eder Frier and Laverick, the Mexican and the Welshman riding on the front. The Irishman, McGlinchey, is right there. This one is a battle royale. Look at the group behind Nathan. Strung out like, that is now starting to see gaps opening up. That's not even strung out anymore. Small groups starting to form here on the climb. This one has gone ballistic.
Yeah, we do have Gavin Hughes just hanging on at the back of this pack here. We are looking at the poison dart frog, as a lot of times people call him, as his spirit animal out on Zwift, and that's going to be Messineo here from Team ZF Argentinian. Gavin Dempster there, the pickup from this week from SARS Pro's Closet. Now seeing that it looks like Edifrier's dropping off, so he goes over the top here. It looks like we may have a selection of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 riders, but Lionel Viasen, his favorite place to go. This is where he won the race on the Yana race on Saturday. Goes to 8 watts per kilogram. Viasen is committed at 556 watts right now, as you can see. 183 beats per minute. Getting the gap here. Interesting to see, and I think he was waiting to see if the gap was splintered enough to get an advantage that it would actually pay off to go like this. And I believe he is saying this is the time. Laverick now knows that this is a danger man and looks to split things apart as well. If they can drop off just a few more, they're going to increase their percentages, increase their chances of getting a win out here. McGlinchey now following here. The Irishman, Vitus Pro Cycling, trying to grab the wheels. They come up over the top. Now it's going to be Boniface, Mills, Keeling now as well. Viasen, 5.8. Laverick, 7.5 watts per kilogram. And there we go. Over the top, there is the main selection of one man that's trying to just ride away from the rest of this group. Boniface going across. It looks like it's going to be trying to chase down a group of 4. That's going to be the situation. 4 coming back, and with such small groups here, they do not get nearly as much of advantage. So they're most likely going to wait up for a few more to jump into the mix here and try and look for that advantage on the downhills. And Viasen's going to have to stay pretty committed or just get into a super tuck and allow these riders to come back. Probably have a group of about 5 up to maybe 10 for this second half of the race.
Well, the Belgian Express has rolled out of the station. If you are not on board, you are not going to be winning a bike race here this afternoon. Let's see who made the train. As Lionel Viasen has lit it up here, we're going to be going back and looking at Boniface, Kirkmeyer, Laverick. So no surprise, these were some of the big names that we were tipping as we came into this 41-kilometer contest. And remember now, there's going to be a significant portion of downhill after. So that's Fox Hill that they come down after they make the climb of Fox Hill. So they still have a lot of terrain ahead of them that's going to be quite challenging, but it looks like we have made the winning selection out here. Nathan, let's try to identify, take some inventory here of who has made it. Dempster, that's the blue flag with the cross in it. That is the Scottish flag for Dempster. Turner is here. We see the Union Jack there. Laverick is here, the Welsh rider. So a lot of riders out of the United Kingdom and Ireland are in this move, Nathan.
Yeah, and you can see Lionel Viasen 6 seconds up from the group containing Sheehan, Herod, as well as Boniface, it looks like. Mills, Keeling, Laverick, you can see just off in the distance a little bit behind Viasen there, 11 watts per kilogram, trying to keep the speeds high. Just a little ways behind him, it does look like this chasing group is going to make the catch. So here they're coming on 76 kilometers per hour. The chase group behind them has Bevan here. James Bevan, they haven't been able to get rid of him as it looks like he is most likely going to make contact. But the question is, this is really getting interesting now. They are going to catch Viasen here in this lead group. But the question is, they have 8 seconds between themselves and the Bevan group. They're going to be super motivated to keep Bevan from catching them. They do not want that rider coming back. They do not want, he has not lost a straight up sprint, I think, in quite a long time. We do see it looks like to the front now. Leandro Messineo now in this group here, heading to the front. This is interesting to see now how they are working together to try and bring this back. I've never seen such talent between these riders here. This is the chase group that we're looking at now, and they are almost on board. It is 6 seconds. 6 seconds is a long ways, though, on 80 kilometers per hour here. Will they be motivated at the front here to keep things moving and not be caught? It does look like Boniface now going off the front. Look at the situation here. Messineo almost back on terms, but now there's another attack off the front with Kirchmal and Boniface now in that lead group. We're going to move up with them. As you can see, Boniface in 9 watts per kilogram. Kirchmer here now as well into this 5% gradient. If anybody's not rested up in that group that just made contact, they may fall off again. Boniface trying to push the pace here. 172 beats per minute. Kirchmer now 5.5. Larson now backing off as he knows this is all back together. This is the main selection here at this point, I believe. There's a group a little ways behind. They're about 36 seconds back with James Barnes, V. Moore, Brooke there from BRT, but I think that's just a little bit too much to ask. Mochman from Vitus Pro Cycling after putting in a huge amount of effort for his teammate. Looks like he's with that chase group as well, but this is your selection for the day.
Yeah, there is no question that group, this is the group of your winner. There will be attacks out of this group, but nobody is bringing 36 seconds back on this group. Not a chance at all. What we're looking at now is a really select group of danger men. And what's going to happen? So we've already know that Lionel Viasen is champing at the bit right now. He's attacked out of this group once. Brett Boniface is also attacked. That was back on the flatter section. There's going to be another individual that hits out for the prairie from this group, and how they respond is going to be how we tell the story of this race. So really the scenario here is they are down to 10K to go at this point, Nathan. We would have gone under the 10K kite. There's one significant feature, that's Box Hill, and then they're going to be hightailing their way to the finish line. But this is your exceptional lead group right now.
Yeah, looking at the group, it looks like Sheehan to the front now, the Irishman. The heart rate's coming way down. Look at this, 143 beats per minute currently from Lionel Viasen there as well. So obviously they're looking to, after those initial fireworks, burn in some matches. See how many left in the book though. Taking inventory, I think, is the section, is what's going on here. Is you don't even see the chase group behind at this point at the bottom of that climb. So Laverick though, little bit of kick here. Interesting. Laverick's now 9 watts per kilogram. This is a move.
Well,
he's saying that we're going to go.
So, I mean, yeah, he's got something to work with when it hits 5%. Now, remembering that this group has some real hitters. Herod, Sheehan, Viasen, Mills, Keeling, Kirkmeyer, the Austrian. There's Fleeman, the Saris, the pros closet rider. But they're going to play around a little bit, Nathan. They're giving him 5 seconds here. So some leash opening up. Ed Laverick hits hard when he hits. So this is a stunner coming from Laverick right now. I wouldn't mess around with the Welshman. Look at
this group. The group is totally uninterested. Look at the situation here. They're just watching him roll away. 4.3 watts per kilogram. Laverick continues on at 6 watts per kilogram right now. What a move. This is interesting to see here. This could be it.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, we still have a ways to go, folks, but and you don't see this often. You could watch this race play out 100 times, and this move does not work. I think it just might work today. This is, again, maybe they underestimate Ed Laverick. I wouldn't. We were calling him our most aggressive rider from the USA Cycling race we did with Indoor Specialist last Wednesday. He is a massive talent. He's turning himself into a wattage cottage right now, Nathan. McGlinchey knows. McGlinchey's coming. Here we go.
Yeah, it looks like there's definitely some moves happening here behind now, as it looks like Christopher McGlinchey says, look, Ed Laverick has 16 seconds right now. We are not allowing this to go. No way. He knows that this is a move to make. And if he gets away with Laverick here at this point, this most definitely could be a winning move between the two riders. Here's McGlinchey, 6 seconds up from Kirchmeyer. As you can see, Laverick now, you can just see in the background behind him the chase from McGlinchey there. Now it is 17 seconds to the chase. Was the climb over the top of that KOM just too much for the group? Are there just no more matches to go, or are they playing games? I have a feeling with the kind of talent that's in there, they're playing games at this point. They're letting them go, thinking, no, nothing's going to happen. Brett Boniface, 17 watts per kilogram. Look at this. Viasen's going as well, and now the infighting is starting. They are not watching any longer. The orange numbers are popping here, and it's all on the table here, out on the triple loops in London. Out on Zwift, 3R with Vitus Pro Cycling. This is amazing Zwifting right now.
Yeah, well, it's every man for himself at this point. We're not going to have it much of a group left by the time these guys are done throwing these haymakers here. Lionel Viasen is moving up, trying to get onto the green jersey there. It is still Ed Laverick off the front, but it's only a couple of seconds, and I think you're going to see Laverick being joined by Boniface first, then Viasen, then James Bevan, then Kirkmeyer. Christopher McGlinchey still hanging in there. Herod is right in line next, and there you go. So Boniface now taking over he is the vanguard, the front of the bike race. A lot of things changing. It's going to be a very dynamic couple of kilometers here as they're going to be looking at 7%. It gets tougher and tougher here. Banging away on the front with that, and now that's going to be Boniface being challenged as we see yet another new name up on the front. It's Bowen and Cuevas. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute Donnybrook going on in London right now. But Lionel Viasen remains the man, the lion of Flanders.
Yeah, we do see those kicks going into Box Hill. It's absolutely insane. So for those of you who are wondering, how did they end up on Box Hill? Essentially what they did is they did not take the turn away over toward the flat sections of London. They stayed in Surrey Hills and they made a left-hand turn back on the Box Hill after the climb just before here on Keith and Leith Hill. So now they're going to be heading up Box Hill in the descending Fox Hill. We're heading into the final few sections of the course here. And Laverick here, after that attack, rested up for a moment, let those riders come across, and now with attacks into the bottom of Box Hill, it's a very different situation than you usually get. Usually it's 6 to 7 minutes of everything you got, but they attacked into this climb. So with that, these riders are already going to be on edge, and I have a feeling this is going to get splintered, and we're not going to have your usual situation where it's just a sprint to the line with a group. I have a feeling we're going to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 get away here if they have the energy left to do so. I'm really happy to see how they are just lighting this race up, making it so interesting for us here out here today. These racers are making this race.
Yeah, it doesn't get better than this. No question. As you look at Laverick and Kirkmeyer here are 2 leaders. Now, there's not much of a pack left to chase. There is a little bit of a drafting element. These 2 will share that as well. But these 2 are going to be splitting this workload. It looks like 50-50 for a little bit here as they make their way up again. Now, there's going to be, it flattens out a little bit, and then it gets really steep again. This is not an easy climb to find your rhythm on at all. That's the chase group. 2 riders up the road right now. And that gap, I mean, they could smell the embrocation off on their legs if they were in real life on this climb. They're not moving that quickly anymore, down under 30 kilometers per hour. These guys, rarely do you see speeds like that. It speaks to how steep this climb is. But Nathan, there is a tremendous amount of horsepower back in this group. If they can't get more than 10 seconds as they go over the top of Box Hill, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I think that's what this group is actually trusting here at this point. Let's take a quick look at the chase group here to give an idea, because as you do look at this, it's interesting to see that they are just steady here. 5-6 watts per kilogram, not giving too much more than that here. But then you do look at the riders ahead, 12 seconds, 7 watts per kilogram currently. Let's head on back over to Laverick and Kirchmere here. Laverick continues on into a well over threshold effort over and over again. Kirchmere now trusting his compatriot here now at this point, saying, okay, we're in, we're committed, 15 seconds. Turner now says behind here, 8 watts per kilogram coming from him, saying, you guys, we've got to do something. This race looks to be over if we don't go. And it looks like Turner here from the dropouts now punching 7.7 watts per kilogram, trying to come across. Interesting move, though. He's going to have a couple more come with him, and Miglinski is going to be the one that does so. It looks like they're just going to try and splinter this group some more, but they got to come over the top with a few bodies, as you said, because if it goes splintered, they will not get the advantage that you get from riding together on that section on the downhill. They will not get that boost. We're looking at Vitus still here, but across now as we look at the chase happening here, this is Miglinski along with Turner, 7 watts per kilogram now from Turner, trying to shut things down to Laverick ahead. Laverick and Kirchmer still have a gap. They're almost out of sight, actually. They'll be taking a right-hand turn in just a second here. They won't longer be seen. Out of sight, out of mind. Is that going to happen out here today? We might see one of the best rides we've ever had on the Triple Lutz here on Zwift today.
Well, and so again, to create the scenario for you here, on this final decisive climb, there's going to be a downhill afterwards. But Ed Laverick, the Welsh rider, he now is working with, and now he's going alone. So they are no longer working together as well as we might have thought. Their advantage is big. It's 18 back to what I'd call the peloton with a couple of riders, McGlinchey and Kirkmeyer this is Laverick and Kirkmeyer, your 2 together on the front. You go back a little bit further and then you see that chase being led by Christopher McGlinchey. And then it is, left, right, and center. You got riders all over the road at this point, Nathan. This climb has blown this field to bits, no question. We might not see a group larger than 5 riders as they come up, and over. There's your first chase being led by McGlinchey. Our 2 leaders being led by Laverick. Wow, what a bike race we are witnessing here.
Yeah, Kirchmer is going to lead things over the top of the KOM. They're coming over the top here with 19 seconds. 19 seconds, it looks like, over Turner. Yeah, it is. That is a huge gap here. But here, look, now Boniface now just came over the top of McGlinchey and the others with a few other riders here. So it does look like McGlinchey here is going to have to try grab onto Viasen, Boniface, Turner all together. So it looks like Lionel Viasen bridged a gap to those two riders. What an effort from Viasen to come across the line. Now 4 riders here, but with 21 seconds and only 4 riders though. Look behind here. I'm not sure now. This is a large group. It might all just get swallowed up by this group. That might be the reality. It's a large enough group, but they're going to have to kick hard. I think they're done though. I think there's just no energy left in the body here, Dave.
Yeah, I don't think that group does rejoin because there's enough horsepower up here. These 4 are 4 of the strongest 10 in the bike race today, and they're working well together. I don't think that group does rejoin. I think that you're going to see the top 6 spots going to the first 6 riders out on the road right now. We'll see if anyone can upset that apple cart, but there is a lot of talent riding on the front right now. Again, the hyper-aggressive Ed Laverick here with the Austrian Kirchmeier. These two are locked down. I mean, this is a really solid 2-rider group here. The thing when you're in a small breakaway is you have to trust that the other rider is going to work as well. You really expose yourself. And once you realize that this guy's on the same page as I am, and now you're going to see this is McGlinchey that we're looking at, the Irish rider who had a big classics win going back a little more than a week. He's got a huge, huge engine, Nathan, but he's not making any watts right now.
He was trying to get into Super Tuck, I think. And once in a while, you don't grab the Super Tuck bit for some odd reason. Once in a while, it doesn't kick for some reason in. So it looks
not
like
good when you try and miss.
Yeah,
not good when you try and miss because you waste a good 10 seconds there.
Yeah, it does look like he's getting. It might have just been an on screen though too. He might have been grabbing it and it just didn't tuck him in on screen. But he did grab a solid 1 second over that chase group. They are closing it down to him though at this point. So the chase group here, let's go ahead and see if we can get a good image here of what things are out on course here. So in the bushes a little bit with our lead group here. 17 seconds though. Kirchmeier and Laverick working together. Laverick coming through at 7.7 watts per kilogram. Now the chase group here containing Boniface as well as Viasen, Turner, and McGlinchey are looking to come back as well. So interesting to see if they're going to work well together. It looks like McGlinchey now kicking into 11 watts per kilogram. That's the situation. And I think you were correct. Leandro Messinil here, 20 seconds back. We're going to go back to the second chase group real quickly. They're traveling about 72 kilometers per hour. The lead group here now 81, 82. So they're doing a much better job here of keeping the speeds as high as they possibly can and using their super tugs as well as they can. 15 seconds. They may bring this back. I think because of the way that these two up front attacked Box Hill, they might not have quite as much in the tank, and they don't have as many bodies to work with here. Laverick, probably tons of frustration right now from him as he kicks into 8 watts per kilogram, but with 4 riders behind, using Super Tuck and coming into rotation with that Super Tuck over and over again, they brought it to 8 seconds. We're going to have a sprint up of 6, it looks like to me.
Yeah, well, and look how quickly we're running out of real estate here. Again, I learned my lesson last weekend is that you have to watch very, very closely for that finish, the truss there. But we are on paper here looking at our lead group just about to hit 40K, meaning they should be down to 1K to go. We are into the finale here. The business end of the bike race has arrived. We're watching the Canadian, Brett Boniface, one of the most talented esports racer out there. He's making a big surge. Nathan, it looks like they're going to shut it down. We should have 6 coming to the line together. Wow, they welded this back together. That's a big kick save for the Canadian. That's it. Hit the reset button. 6 on the front. These are the men in the mix. Lionel Viasen is there. Brett Boniface is there. And then Christopher McGlinchey is the 3rd rider in line. Ed Laverick in the black jersey on the back here, trying to identify all of the guys, Nathan, because they are coming in hot right now. Turner, the other rider there, you see the Union Jack next to his name. So that's it. These are the men who have made the race. They won't be caught. They're going to the line together.
Oh,
this
no,
is
Dave.
Kilometer.
Dave, Bevan is 11 seconds back now. Oh my gosh.
Well, he's got half a K to catch him, Nathan.
Half a K or so. This is going to be insane.
Seconds and a half K. There's no way you make up 11 seconds on these guys in half a K. I mean, they are coming to the line hot right now. As this is it. This should be about 300 meters to the finish. This is your group. It looks like Laverick is going to try to come. Oh my goodness. They're going to start sprinting soon here, Nathan.
Yeah, they go over the
Maybe
top
a
here in
little
just a
further
moment.
out.
Little further out. Yeah, so they will be heading over the bridge here, and then it'll be a left-hand turn, and then over the top like we saw on Sunday in the Redlands Classic. Same exact finish there. Now Turner here in the dropouts team leading things out. It looks like Boniface sitting in. We've got 2 dropouts team members here. There's a chase group behind. I'm not sure they're organized enough. They're starting to infight just a little bit. It's 10 seconds. I think they're going to hold on to it. Now Viasen here, 5 seconds here, 5.0 watts per kilogram. It looks like from Viasen. 6 to the line. Dempster for SARS, the Pros Classic, doing some work behind here, though. Interesting to see.
Far to
We're
the
probably
finish?
about 800 meters, or so, I would say.
So
We're within the K for
1K.
sure.
Okay, a little less than 1K now. We'll be watching for that finish truss. These guys will start sprinting early. Absolutely, the worst thing that can happen to you is you get bogged down and miss the surge as it happens. Brett Boniface has attacked, so it looks like a solo move going off the front. But, oh boy, Viasen looks like he's there to cover. Viasen doesn't go over the top, but does Laverick now. I think that's going to be Ed Laverick in the black jersey. Oh, boy. Again, I apologize. I don't know exactly how far from the line they are, but they should be really close now, Nathan. Laverick off the front.
Yeah, and this is a risky move here. Now, here we go, right into the final 500 meters now. Laverick out, 8 watts per kilogram. Kirchmer now, 7.8. Lionel Viasen sitting in the wheel of Kirchmer. He's trusting that Laverick's going to be able to come back. Christopher Miglinski goes. That's the signal. When Miglinski went, Viasen now goes to jump on the wheel. It looks like Miglinski might have gotten the gap. Can Viasen come over the top? Viasen trying to close, but might not be able to do it. Looks like Miglinski's going to hold on to the line. Christopher Miglinski, we called it. He was the one to watch out for on the climbing course. Kirchmer, the next one, it looks like. Bevan almost catching up to them. Oh my goodness, what a kick. And it looks like Dempster almost got involved as well with that chase. Amazing results all around. And real quick here, let's head back onto the studio as we bring in, we've got a couple of things to bring in here with the results and everything, as well as the overalls for the series. But what a battle over the top of Box Hill. I haven't seen that kind of a situation before, actually, in quite a long time. That kind of a situation where you have that many groups chasing each other down and the kind of tactics that they had going on there, that was absolutely amazing bike racing.
Yeah. They had a lot to work with on this course. I would have to say, for the endurance athletes, the guys who are into the stage racing, this was such a perfect course for them. McGlinchey taking the win. Christopher McGlinchey has been en fuego over the last couple of weeks. He's our host team today, the Vitus squad. He rides for them as a pro Conti, and he has had 2 huge wins here on the esports platform. Lionel Viasen, I thought he had it, Nathan. His surge was well-timed. McGlinchey's just a little bit better. And then how about riding in that 2-rider break up there with Kirchman? He was up there with Ed Laverick for a while. Laverick went first. Kirchman ends up on the podium, though, with the 3rd spot. So McGlinchey, Viasen, and Kirchmeyer, that's your top 3.
Take a quick look at the replay here as we came to the line. Laverick here is the one who led things out, as you can see. And then it was going to be the first kick from McGlinchey. Look at McGlinchey here, 12.7 watts per kilogram coming from him. And that got the gap. Viasen was waiting in the pack for that kick. But because McGlinchey was the first to go and he was up front in the pack, he was so well positioned. Viasen, even though he had 16 watts per kilogram into the downhill, unable to close the gap down. If we look behind there, coming over the top, it was Laverick fading backwards. He went just too early. And then we did see a Kirchmeyer there coming through for 3rd place, it looks like. So that was the situation here. Let's take a quick look here at our results as well, as we will be able to bring those in here. Just 1 second here, as we got to grab a couple of our different overlays. And there you go. Christopher McGlinchey there, as you said, 54.12. Able to grab it by a 10th of a second over Lionel Viasen, Stefan Kirchmer there, 54.13 as well. But Boniface, and then it was Ed Laverick, Andy Turner. Bevan, 7th place. Just him and Dempster were on an amazing chase and ended up coming in only 2 seconds back, actually. Dempster actually fading there, and James Bevan still had a kick to the line. Coming there, comes
2
with,
seconds back from 6th, though. It's still 4 seconds back from the win there. McGlinchey at 54.
Solid efforts there, though, by Dempster, I would say, and Bevan there to try and close things down. George Mills Keeling, solid effort from him. 8 seconds back for 10th place. So that's the situation there. Coming into this series, we'll take a quick look at the A standings as they were. I'm not sure they're going to be, they may be, look at that. Brett Boniface, I think, was able to drop off Leandro Messinil on the day. Wow. And so because of that, I think we're going to see a change up here in the GC positions. These are the GC positions coming into the day. This is after 5 races, and today being the final. These are going to have some change ups here. I think Gavin Hughes as well may be benefiting from today with a better GC position out there today.
Wow, you don't see that often, do you? Speaks again to the quality of the course, or at least certainly from the perspective of the guys that made the breakaway today. That was a strong man's race, that is for sure. Like you said, Nathan, you really don't see that often, do you? That select of a group coming over the climb and that 4-rider group catching our 2 leaders and then them setting up the sprint. And you're right. I mean, Bevan, if that race was another 2-3 kilometers long, they would have made the catch and bend in the sprint. So credit where it's due. Bevan really made a race of that.
That league group, I think, there's also a little bit thrown to chance there with the way the league group came together, and it was like they were there was the Viasen group chasing, which then kept the speeds high. Laverick pressing the issue off the front. I mean, very interesting to see how that ended up played out. Sometimes you got to roll with what's given to you, and I think the second group with Viasen and Miglinski, they really played things really well. Smartest group on the, I would think, on the maybe not strongest group, but definitely the smartest group, I think, on the day in order to set themselves up well for the sprint. So amazing though with the 3R Vitus series. Now, if you did involve yourself in this series, a big shout out to Vitus Pro Cycling. They're doing some raffles. They're going to be giving away 3 prizes, all bikes, I believe. Pretty awesome to see. And make sure that you were registered with zwiftpower.com. They'll be going through the results on zwiftpower.com for those who did participate in any of the races. And from there, they'll be doing some random selections for a raffle. Big shout out to Vitus for supporting the 3R races out here.
Yeah, and you can always go to zwiftpower.com to get the results and see how all of these things shook out. It was one heck of a series, wasn't it? Thanks to all our friends at 3R. Ride, race, and raise. Well, you've checked all 3 boxes. Good job, guys. And thanks to our friends at Vitus as well, helping support the racing. And it's awfully nice when you support a race to have your guy win it as well. Congratulations, Christopher McGlinchey. Classing it up. That guy's a stone-cold killer. What a well-timed sprint today.
Very well timed, very well done there for Miglinski, representing Vitus. Now, just a quick shout out. On Tuesdays, we will be having Ride Real 3R Racing with Wahoo, a new series that's going to be launching. So be on the lookout for that announcement. I just got some information today that came across the desk about that series being launched. So if you're looking for a new Tuesday series, that is what it looks like it's going to be for the broadcast coming up in the future. So be on the watch out for an announcement for 3R specifically on that. Hey, Dave, always great. We'll be back for USA Cycling tomorrow.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Nathan.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And make sure to tune in tomorrow for the USA Cycling League. We will be here again. And if you want the full broadcast schedule, we did release those on all the ZCL socials, Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook, and see our next broadcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, ride on.